All right, first I'm going to go ahead and show you a short film that we produced at a little football game that happened last week.
All my friends know the low rider. The low rider is a little higher. The low rider drives a little slower.
All right, so that little game I was talking about happened to be the Super Bowl. It happened at Levi's Stadium in San Francisco just last Sunday. For all of you Carolina fans out there, I apologize. But you're probably asking, what exactly is ParkHub and what is it that we do? Well, to put it simply, we're a mobile point of sale system. We're a complete parking ecosystem. Everything that we have is cutting edge, and it hasn't been used out there in the industry since we brought it to bear. What does this mean for parking lot owners? Well, it's a little known fact that almost 30% of revenue that goes through parking lots ends up in the parking attendants' pockets. We call that slippage. In any cash-heavy industry, that's just kind of what happens, but using our system with the amount of digital oversight that we have drastically reduces the amount of theft. Second of all, with our cloud-based reporting and inventory and revenue, it creates a complete transparency and allows them to see their operation from top to bottom in real time. And lastly, they're able to park more cars faster. Now, for all of the fans that come out, this means that they have more ways that they're able to pay. With our handheld units, you can use credit cards, you can pre-purchase your parking through whatever ticketing agency that they use. It can be validated in real time. We also track all cash transactions, and by the start of football season this year, fans will be able to pay using NFC as well. Also, with our platform, enables them to find parking spots faster and easier. Now, a few products that we've launched, one of them is our management suite. It's called Portal. It's a cloud-based dashboard system that allows operators to see all of their inventory and all of their revenue across their entire platform in real time. They can track their data as it's happening or historically to create reports so that they can better manage their operations. Our mobile point of sale system is called Prime. It stands for Parking Revenue Inventory Management Enterprise. That's the handheld units that you saw in the video. That's with a credit card reader, scanner, and our user interface in one hand, and a wireless Bluetooth printer, which is actually sitting on the table in front of you. We're also developing our own proprietary hardware system called Pulse, which plugs into any existing parking infrastructure that's there, whether it's gates or any type of a controlling system, and also smart sensor technology as well. Now, what we've seen over the last year gathering our data is that we've seen revenue lifts up to 25%. It decreases the amount of time cars getting into parking lots by 7 times, and operators are able to charge up to 10% more per car. All of that translates into more revenue. Now, we brought this product to market January 6th of 2015 at American Airlines Center in Dallas. Now, American Airlines Center has been ranked in one of the top 10 venues in the United States since they opened, and it's in our own backyard in Dallas. We spent about 5-6 months really nailing our product before we wanted to go and expand from there. Since then, we're at Amalie Arena, which is home of the Tampa Bay Storm and Lightning. They're ranked number 3 in the nation as far as venues. We're at AT&T Stadium, also known as Jerry World, home of the Dallas Cowboys, and also the American Country Music Awards, which we did park in April of last year. Levi's Stadium, which I saw a Levi's fan or employee here earlier, home of the 49ers. We're also the parking component for Venue Next. American Airlines Center, which I mentioned before. We're on or around Ford Field and also Lucas Oil Stadium, and we're quickly expanding out into other markets as well. We just finished our pilot program with Live Nation, and we're now moving into more of their amphitheaters across the country. We've also have several of the top management and operating companies in the nation as our clients as well. So, unfortunately, I'm not able to show you the user interface for the handheld units, but it's very simple and it's very easy to use. We engineered this so that anybody can use it without any mistakes at all whatsoever. Now, cash is still accepted in lots across the country, so we do allow for cash acceptance within our platform. Now, you notice I just did cash transaction, receipt popped out. Will one of you please tear off that receipt and tell me what it says on there?
Gyrodef, $1.
Now, one of the great things about these receipts is that we always talk about generating extra revenue and extra marketing opportunities. You'll notice that actually the header and the footer on that receipt is customizable per lot. So that allows you to be able to sell it to sponsors. You can advertise the own arena. You can do promotions for buy one, get one free hot dog. You can sell the rights to whoever you want, generating more revenue for the parking operation as it stands. The great thing though is that, and right now I'm switching from one lot to another, is that you're able to customize this per lot. So I'm doing another cash transaction. Another receipt should pop out.
Oh, this one's for me. This is the one I was supposed to grab. This one's
Yes.
for me. Thanks.
So I talked about cash transactions. I talked about real time. You'll notice as I'm doing these transactions, they're popping up on the dashboard. This is what the operating manager would be seeing as the game is going on, as people are filling into the lots. We do also have credit card acceptance as well. Now, one of the things to note is that you might have heard that there are actually scanners out in parking lots, but they don't work very well. The reason why is that they're all linked to Wi-Fi. The reason why our system is so fast and so dependable is that we're not dependent upon Wi-Fi. We run on an LTE backbone, and it's still very cost-effective going into our platform, so it doesn't restrict the companies or the stadiums or arenas in a cost-effective way. So that's running through the functionality of the handheld unit. Cash, credit, we're able to scan barcodes. We can scan them in real time. I know there is definitely an issue out there with mobile authorization from a printed ticket to having one issued on mobile. We're able to integrate with any ticketing system out there. Currently, we're integrated with Ticketmaster. We integrated with Park Mobile for the Super Bowl. We're also integrated with a third-party, ParkWiz. So any parking spot on their platform, we can validate that as well. For you baseball fans out there, you'll be happy to know that we have begun talks with Tickets.com to integrate with them as well. We're just basically going and tackling every platform that's out there. So that way, any and all fan for any league can enjoy a seamless and painless parking experience, is ultimately what we're trying to go to. Like I said, you're seeing every transaction that I did pop up there, but I want to show you what a more populated graph looks like. So this is what a graph would look like after a full day of parking vehicles. And you'll see that we have lots of different types of information. It's all color-coded, whether it's prepaid, cash. We have some exempt, because not everybody has to pay whenever they park. The big part about this, though, is the data that we collect. Take, for instance, here. This was somebody who pre-purchased a $20 parking ticket for the Lexus garage. His name was Brett Schwarzkopf, and his Ticketmaster ID is, 457, everything else. We're able to compile and collect all of this data, so after the fact, you're able to see who comes in where, whether it's suite holders, your bottom bowl, your top bowl, all their parking tickets correspond with the tickets that they use inside the stadium. Talked about reporting. You're able to create infographics on the fly, whether it be a pie chart, or if you just want to see the pure units to measure your traffic, your peak times of ingress, or also your revenue as well. The best part, though, is that you're able to export all of this into a CSV, so you're able to play with the data however you choose to, however you want to, and manipulate it from there. Great thing about this is that you can also manage all of your users, all of your cashiers. Once they sign in for the first time, they're prompted to take a picture of themselves, uploads them into their user profile. You're also able to track your, let's see, where's the other window? All of your inventory as well. Here we go, too many windows. So here, you'll notice that every time I do a transaction of any kind, it will tick over on the progress bar. And actually, this goes to show that we run on an LTE background. I'm hooked up on Wi-Fi right now, which is why it's taking so long. Every time I run a transaction, you'll see the progress bar going over. This enables the parking operator to sell all the way down to zero. Previously, before parking management and operators, they had to do a direct line of sight. They'd go out, they'd count cars, they'd get updates every 30, 45 minutes from people out in the field. And that's where human error comes into play. That's where the ability to steal comes into play. So what we're trying to do here at ParkHub is to close the loop on parking operations, to provide more options to the guests, and to optimize and make more efficient the operations for stadiums and arenas coast to coast and soon globally. So do I have any questions from the audience? Yes.
How do you handle processing? Is it through one gateway, or when you deal with organizations, most of them have locked in rate with Chase Payment Tech or First Data? Talk a little bit about how you handle payment processing.
Well, one of the things that I like to make clear to everybody is that we're not a bank. We don't actually process, we don't hold on to any of the money. We have an open platform on the end so that we can integrate with Chase Payment Tech or with First American or with Go eMerchant or whichever gateway the stadium arena is using. Depending on which hardware profile of ours are used, of ours that you use, depends on which ones are available.
So what's your typical timeline, from, let's say, if we use Heartland, what is that from a development standpoint? When we give you the bar sheet and our merchant ID and everything like that, to you building into that payment gateway?
It could be a matter of minutes, or it could be a few weeks. Depends on if you want to use our chip and pin system to make you EMV PCI compliant, or if you want to use the typical MSR. Since we're already set up with Authorize.net, Go eMerchant, and a few others, all we need is your merchant ID, and you're ready to go. Yes?
You mentioned that there's profiles for the cashiers. Is
Mhm.
it also membership driven for the fan or for the person that's parking? Or do you collect that data on who's?
We do collect the data. It's all stored in our database, and as the operating company, you're able to pull that data and use it however you see fit. You can see when somebody came in. You can see, how long it took them to get from the parking lot to inside the stadium. That's actually what we do with Venue Next. But we don't compile that data into a user database per se. That's more up to if the ticketing office wants to do that.
Do you have any examples of what a client would see driving to the game? Like, is there shows them the various lots and what's left so they can go to the right one?
That's something that we're able to set up through any of the white label apps, like if you have a Victory Park app or an American Airlines Center app. We have open API keys on the back to where the hooks inside those white label apps can pull that data in, and we're definitely able to interface with that. I don't have an example to show you right now.
Kind of going off of that, so most of your clients now, so using the sports properties as an example, are they just tapping into your API and showcasing it in their app?
Yes.
And that's how a consumer would be purchasing,
Yes, that's correct.
repurchasing or reserving their spot or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
How mature is the technology from a ticketing integration standpoint? If people want to, season ticket holders, Super Bowl is one thing, but if you have season ticket holders that want to be transferring passes, that sort of thing, have you guys proven that out?
That's actually something that we have accomplished with Venue Next at the 49ers Stadium through their native app. They are able to swap out parking passes to any other user that they like. We're able to validate that in real time as well.
Thank you.
What were one or two of the biggest learnings from the Super Bowl from a venue standpoint?
I've gotten that question a few times. They want to hear what goes wrong. I can honestly say that there were a few bumps and bruises, and the reason that happened is training for the cashiers. We went through an extensive training process with the cashiers at Levi's Stadium whenever we launched there, but when the Super Bowl comes in, they kind of take over operations. Some inexperienced cashiers were put out in the field, and even though there is a really small learning curve with how to use this, it's still a new piece of technology that they're not familiar with. And so if you're not familiar with it, sometimes that can cause a negative experience. And really that was about it. But luckily, myself and the rest of the team, we were out there. We were helping train people on the fly. And so we kind of mitigated that problem before it really caused any serious issues. So to answer your question in short, training is key. Yes?
You were
Yes, one of the graphs that I showed you at the beginning shows how we're integrated with other, with parking management companies. And depending on how they choose to sell their parking, if they do it through ParkWiz or through Spot Hero or any of these other third-party sites, we're able to validate that parking, those parking passes as well. So,
Is there any incentive for the team to do that, or do you work directly with those parking management companies?
it all depends on the relationship between the ticketing office and these parking management companies, these third-party lots. If they sell, like, to their parking passes, their season ticket holders, and those season ticket holders have access to those lots that are not owned by the stadium, we still validate those parking passes through the ticketing office. So the data still flows, we're still able to do it. It just depends on what the relationship is with those operators.
Great. Well, that is all the time that we have.
Thank you, guys.